And the cowboy.
Mm-hmm. Just like you.
Terrain that varies.
He's
That's
dropping a lot of
insane.
numbers. That's crazy.
What?
It's terrible. What is up? Welcome back. It's Aaron.
And Petra.
We're an American and European couple discovering the U.S.
Today, we're watching a video called How Big is USA Actually?
You know, that's a great question because I don't think Europeans really understand how big the United States is.
I don't think Americans understand that, to be honest.
Yeah, that's also true. We post videos every single day.
So make sure you like and
Subscribe. Let's go.
The United States is currently the world's sole superpower with military installations around the world. As a country, its geography spans from subtropical forests to rolling plains, scorching deserts, and Arctic wastes.
I love that
just
map.
how big is the U.S. really in comparison to the rest of the world? Hello and welcome to another episode of the Infographics Show. Today, we're taking a look at how big the U.S. really is. The U.S. is approximately 5,680,000 square miles.
What?
Oh my.
I love how they drew this though.
Yeah.
Right?
This animation.
There's a horsey. There's a guy getting some sunlight in. I love it.
There's the Native American.
Okay.
Let's go.
Continue.
And the cowboy.
Just like you.
Terrain that varies dramatically. Only Russia at 10.6 million square miles and Canada at 6,205,000 square miles are larger than the U.S.
Wow,
Its three biggest states, Alaska at 663,000 square miles, Texas at 270,000 square miles, and California at 160,000 square miles, combined would be the 17th largest nation in the world, immediately after Sudan at 1.15 million square miles. And
he's dropping a lot of numbers. That's insane.
That is insane.
Too many numbers happening right now.
Right before Libya at 1 million square miles. In total, the U.S. is larger than the 107 smallest countries in the world
macaroni noodle
combined. With about 327 million people, the United States is also the third most populated nation on Earth, having a total of 4.28% of the total world population.
That's crazy.
What? Isn't that weird to hear the numbers though?
Yes.
It's funny because I'm from Europe and I'm from a country that has a lot less people than the US. So let's continue.
With a net yearly migration rate of approximately 900,000 people, the US is by far the one place the rest of the world wants to live, with Germany coming in second at 350,000 migrants. And
Turkey?
I don't know about Turkey. I don't really look at a map for Turkey. But Germany, yeah, it's huge on the map.
But you see how many migrants they get per year? 350,000. The U.S. gets 900, almost a million per year come to the U.S. Almost a million.
That's insane.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Turkey in third with 325,000 migrants. In the U.S., 83% of the population lives in cities, with its three most populated cities being New York City with 8.5 million people, Los Angeles with 4 million people, and Chicago with 2.7 million people. All combined, the population of the U.S.'s three biggest cities is equal to the population of Chad with 14.5 million people. Just these three cities alone are also more populated than Cuba with 11.5 million people.
11.5 on Cuba?
3 million people, and Greece with 11.2 million people. When counting the greater metropolitan area, New York City is the 10th largest city in the world.
Did you know that? I didn't know that either. 10th largest in the entire world?
It's funny because you say sometimes, oh, it's a lot of people there and here and there. But when you actually mention the numbers, it's like, whoa. That is much bigger.
So much bigger.
With a total population of 18.6 million people, just behind Cairo with 18.8 million people, and just a...
Hold on a second. Cairo? Wait, what was the 18.5 million about?
I don't remember. It's too many numbers.
Head of Dhaka with 17.6
17 in Dhaka?
This would make the greater New York City area the 63rd largest country in the world, just ahead of Syria with 18 million people. The U.S. is the world's largest economy with a gross domestic product of $20.4 trillion, or 23.3% of the total global economy.
Okay.
What? 23% of the global economy.
It's not that surprising though, is it? The U.S. is always the U.S.
Of course, you hear the U.S. has a huge economy. I know that too. But 23% of the entire globe?
Yeah.
That's pretty nuts.
China is just behind the US at $14 trillion and 16.1% of the total global economy. When
Wow.
measured by purchasing power parity, or the price of goods and
China is
services versus
behind the
individual
US.
incomes, the US comes at
Probably
number
biting
2
their
to
nails
China.
all the time, being anxious because of that.
Yeah,
They want to be the first one.
but China's growing.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yep.
It's booming.
Whose GDP PPP is $25.2 trillion.
PPP.
Means that while the Chinese economy is about 30% smaller than the US's, Chinese individuals have on average 20% greater purchasing power in their own
Whoa.
country. The three biggest economies within the US states are California with a GDP of $2.6 trillion,
Oh my gosh.
Texas with a GDP of $1.6 trillion, and New York with a GDP of $1.5 trillion. All
Trillion.
I mean, trillion, yeah. That's nuts. It's just one state. But I also would expect this just because of how big those states are, with the amount of people they have. I mean, those are also the most populated states, I think.
that makes sense.
So
It does make sense.
It kind of checks out.
Altogether, these three states would be the world's third largest economy, just ahead of Japan with a GDP of $5 trillion.
What?
California's economy alone is as big as the United Kingdom's. Texas's is as big as
Wow.
Canada's. And New York's
Wow.
is as big as South Korea's. The United
That's
States
crazy.
also has the best equipped military in the world, though it's only the third largest at
Knew that.
1,282,000 active duty personnel, ahead
Oh my gosh, 182,000 people? 1,282,000 are in the U.S. Army. That's insane.
Mhm.
Over 1 million people.
Yep.
of it are India with
You wouldn't say that big
1.4
a
million
number, would
active
you?
duty personnel, and China with 2.1 million active
Oh
duty
my gosh.
personnel. The U.S. spends over $610 billion on its military every year, or 3.1% of
That's
its total
insane.
GDP.
Especially
35
now,
It's
when
crazy.
all those things happening, it's probably even more.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, that's really. I wonder though, like, how much of this goes to like a huge fighter jet? You know, one of those fighter jets probably cost $200 million, right? So that's
Just one?
yeah.
Oh.
I don't know the cost. I'm just guessing, but
Mm.
that's probably takes up a lot of that 610 billion. But
Insane.
that's yearly.
Mm.
5%
crazy.
of the world's total military expenditure, and more than the next 9 nations combined. Just behind it are China with $150 billion in expenditures, and Saudi Arabia
Whoa,
with
Saudi Arabia.
$76 billion in expenditures.
That's interesting.
The United States also has the most military bases in the most foreign countries in the world, with approximately 800 military installations in 80 countries, possibly
What?
more military bases in more foreign lands than any nation or empire in history.
Still trying
The
to
cost of
expand,
maintaining
though.
these bases alone
Never
is
enough,
about
is it?
$156 billion, more than China spends on its entire military. On the
Wow.
civilian side, the U.S. has the world's third largest police force, with 913,000 total police officers,
That's
placing
crazy.
it just behind India at number 1 with
I
1.9
thought it was
million.
more.
You thought the U.S. would have more than 1 million.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's 327,000 people, I guess that's 1 per 300 people.
Yeah. I guess.
Okay. Yeah.
That should make sense.
Million police officers, and China with 1.6 million police officers.
That's crazy though. Like that tells you kind of, I guess, the cultural crime situation in the U.S. because 1 per like every 350 people, let's say, is police officer. But in India, who has over 1 billion, they only have 2 million.
Mm-hmm.
And in China, with over 1 billion, they only have 1.6 million. So the percentage of police officers per people is so much smaller in those countries.
But I would say that the crime ratio is so much smaller too.
Exactly. yeah.
America is probably very different compared to India and China in terms of crime rates. So
Yeah.
in the US, it's always you need someone from the
It's
force.
just terrible. It's terrible. That's one thing Europeans notice, right?
Yes. Yes, we do.
Let's go.
Police officers. In the realm of healthcare, the U.S. is the most expensive nation on earth, with a health expenditure per capita of $10,350, placing it ahead of Switzerland at $7,900 and Germany
Wow.
at $5,550. While on average, the rest of the world spends about 10.3% of its GDP on healthcare, the U.S. spends 18% of its GDP
Whoa.
on healthcare. The United States is a large, complex nation, big enough to host several different distinct accents within its own borders. Its people are hardworking and industrious, leading the world's economy. But despite what recent political events might indicate, they're also the most welcoming nation
You know
in
what
the
I thought
world.
about before?
What?
Do some people in the US not go to the doctor just because it's too expensive to go there? And you know it's too expensive, so you just choose not to go there. And you rather stay home or do whatever, unless it's really like something that
Emergency.
needs like treatment. Because here you go there, and usually for me, I don't pay anything, right?
Yeah.
When I'm at the hospital or whatever. It depends on situation though, and what you're doing, what it's about.
Yeah, I'm curious too. Maybe you can answer that, but I would guess that a lot of people don't go to avoid the cost.
That's actually insane. Because
Which
you
is-
need a doctor, you need help, but then you don't go just because you know it's going to cost you too much. Like, that's very sad to
Yes.
me.
Yes, it is.
It's horrible. Okay.
It's terrible.
Continue.
The world, with 3 times the number of immigrants than nations in either the number 2 or number 3 spot in a global comparison.
Insane. Yeah, the US is huge, and the numbers back that up. I think we both were able to see that in this video. Yeah, this is a European, I'm an American, and we're discovering the US. I mean, there's so many things to learn about, right?
Oh, yeah.
And
We
yeah,
barely started.
we just are getting started. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you
Like and subscribe.
We're going to keep these videos coming, so we hope to see you in the next one.
Cheers.
Cheers.